Let's talk to this magical moment of you becoming the ambassador.
Okay.
I mean, a singing ambassador, basically around the world.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
First of all, can I first say that I've been performing abroad before becoming a U.S. cultural ambassador. My calling, if you will, was to be a worldwide ministry in music, meaning, and so I knew that I needed to sing abroad. And so my first trip abroad was to Nigeria, and then I performed as a part of a gospel group singing in France, a tour doing France and Germany, and then the opportunity came for me to perform in Russia. So I performed in Russia 4 times with Russian musicians. I went by myself to perform it, and I performed all over the country of Russia, from the Black Sea to the Sea of Japan, and in Siberia with Russian musicians. And so then after that came the opportunity to, I just kept saying.
So you built your resume.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
That's key.
Exactly. And pursuing things, because here's the thing, Mr. McDonald. I wasn't 21, 25 getting started in a music career. And so I knew that I had to do something different, because in the clubs and in the venues that I knew about, they weren't picking people like me to sing with their band. Again, I had, exactly. And so I had to, so, I know, right. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. And so I had to go where I was appreciated, not tolerated. And so I had to change and look at things. And so I had to really do some strategic planning, some really thoughts about my product, my audience, my target audience, and things like that. And so it's like, okay, where can I go where that opportunity exists? And so then came, I then happened to go to DC on my way to New York, because I'm like, well, where can I go where I can be around performers that appreciate what I do? And while in DC visiting my play sister, I was there and wanted to get known. And how does an artist get known? You go perform at jam sessions. You go where people can hear you sing, because I wanted to be booked to perform. And while there, I was asking everybody, do you know who books international? Do you know who books international? Because in Atlanta, I asked the main people that were doing the thing, and nobody knew. And so at that point, I said, well, if you don't know, then nobody here knows. And so I went to, like I said, going to New York to find who books. While in DC, someone said to me, the State Department, like, you idiot, don't you know? And I was like, the State Department? And that's all they said. The State Department. Well, I know how to do research. And so at that point, I'm looking around, and I found this program called American Music Abroad.
Wow.
And so the process is, with anything with the government, you have to submit an application. And I had submitted an application twice before, and I got turned down. And there are components of that. You have to send a video. You have to, do all kinds of things. Well, the third time I submitted, each time I'm getting better and better with my
Rejection
application.
does make you better.
Absolutely. With my application. And then from that, they offered us the opportunity to audition. And I had to pull my band together. And then they flew us to New York, from Atlanta to New York. And we were there. We had to do in the audition, they gave us 20 minutes to audition. And what we did was we had to perform 3 songs, 2 American and 1 international, where I sang in another language. And then also we had to show what kind of master classes we would offer to the persons internationally. And then how would we perform off grid? Because we may be in places that don't have electricity. And so how would we perform, especially with electrical instruments? I mean, we actually, while in Latvia, which is in the Baltics, there was a home that we went to that we went performing in an orphanage. And there was no, they didn't have, well, they had electricity, but they didn't have, sound system. And no drumming. And so I can tell you so many stories, Mr. McDonald, about all of that. But
they knew that was going to happen.
Yes, and so that's why they asked that question. And so once we did that, after the 20 minutes, we were back on a plane back to Atlanta. And then a few months, well, maybe a couple of months later, they reached out to us and told us that we were one of 40. No, excuse me. They auditioned 40. Out of 400 bands that it's applied, they auditioned 40, meaning they flew some to New York, some to LA, and then out of that 400, we were selected one of 10 that would be representing American music.
Wow.